What was the incident at your school? Went to high school where a distant relative on my dad's side was a counselor. It was family knowledge that you don't leave your kids alone in a room with him, hell. I still remember my dad smacking me in the face for taking a candy bar from him at a family function when I was like 8 or 9, so I see him getting buddy-buddy with a friend of mine. I tell him to stay away, and I tell him why pretty soon it gets out that I'm the one saying the counselor is a pedo. Get in school suspension, my parents get called into a meeting soon as he finds out. My dad is coming to the meeting. He suddenly has an emergency situation to deal with. My dad straight up tells the principal he's harboring a child banger. And if dad ever found out that the school let him in the same room as me, he would tear the school down brick by freaking brick and beat the principal over the skull with each and every single one of them. The teachers all hated me and chastised me for spreading disgusting, filthy rumors like that and blah, blah, blah. My sophomore year, he suddenly disappeared from school grounds. Halfway through the year, my dad tells me a week later he got arrested for flashing a bunch of kids at a theater. During a kids' movie, they found pictures of naked kids in his car and a warrant for his home turned up child content on his computer, including some past and present students at the school. Not surprisingly, none of the teachers who were disappointed in me for spreading rumors apologized, except for one, my English teacher, 64. Beast of a man whose voice could get the entire gymnasium to sit down and shut up. Without ever touching the mic, he broke down crying, saying he could never forgive himself. Teachers in a school not having accountability for treating a student poorly, even when the student was right. Never heard of it before in my life. Really, though, I am just glad that this predator, for lack of a better term, although that is the perfect term, I guess, got caught having him still roaming around and being a school counselor. Story 2. Our school was small, 400 people in the whole high school, but was K to 12. So we all knew each other, and we also grew up together. The whole town basically knew everything I say. This because over my 12 years there, we had a nurse get fired for stealing kids' medications, the band teacher assaulted an 8th grader, and the swim coach got drunk and unalived someone with his car. Oh, also the FBI showed up because a kid threatened Obama on Facebook from his mom's computer, who was a teacher. Story 3. Teacher with brain damage mid-class starts acting a little weird, twitching, etc. Then he starts mumbling incoherently, which got the attention of one of my peers across the room. My peer speaks up and asks teacher if he's okay. Teacher picks up a freaking hammer woodshop and heaves it full strength at my peer. Thankfully it missed and smashed through a window and smashed another teacher's car windscreen. The woodshop teacher then screams, "Get the hell out." We all run out of class and down the corridor. We stop when we hear a blood-curdling scream, and a few, including me, ran back to the room. The teacher cut his freaking thumb off with a circular saw. I administered first aid, got his thumb on ice, and got counseling. Was forever called Thumb afterward, and teacher was retired and got committed. Never heard from him again. Really hope this teacher is doing all right now. It must be horrible to not have any control over your own mind. And situations like that, it's definitely one of my biggest fears in life, is to reach a level of mental degradation that I can't control myself in that way. So I have nothing but sympathy for this teacher. It sounds like he's living hell. Story 4. English teacher was almost a victim of Son of Sam. She was walking home at night, and right before she got to her house, a guy got out of the same car the Son of Sam drove and started following her. But when she hurried into her house, he turned away. She called the police, but he'd already left when his diary came out. He was in the same neighborhood at the same time and date. I'm not sure if he described the incident or not in his diary, and yes, she had long dark hair at the time. Story 5. In grade 10 Spanish class, when the teacher suddenly gets a call at her desk. In the back of the room, immediately, the whole school gets put on lockdown. No one is allowed to leave. Turns out a student in middle school, a join school building, brought a supposed pipe bomb to the elementary school, shared a parking lot, and went in to ask if anyone at the school knew what it was. He had put the device in the back of his truck bed and parked right outside the entrance. Turns out the father in the family had serious intellectual disabilities. It ended up being a small piece of PVC pipe with a cap on both ends, no explosives. He brought it to the school because this was the place he thought he could find smart people who could tell him what it was. He really meant no harm. But it was not a good decision. Story 6. In 5th grade, our school didn't let us go on the playground anymore, so we busied ourselves usually playing sports on the giant field. Instead, there were these hollow plastic borders that if you had a friend handy, you could push around, and like any normal 5th grade class, we decided to assemble these borders in a ring and start wrestling. Keep in mind, this was overseas, so the recess monitors didn't really know enough English to tell us to stop and didn't really want to intervene. Kids take turns going inside the ring and fighting each other, which led to 3 kids throwing up one time onto another kid, 2 broken arms, and 1 kid cracked his skull. There was blood and crap everywhere before the faculty came running out and almost everyone got sent to the principals. I was one of the few lucky ones that managed to slip away nice the obligatory school fight club one out of the way. Surely there won't be another one of these, right? Story 7. Just after graduation, there was a party being thrown. I went to a rural high school, so most parties were out on a farm a good ways away from most cities. Well, the one guy that was always kind of quiet, but universally liked, tried to kidnap a girl. If I remember correctly, she was really drunk and he had somehow gotten her into his truck and was trying to drive off. The girl's boyfriend was looking for her and found him trying to leave after they stopped him. They called the cops. The cops searched his truck and found what could only be described as a murder SL assault kit. He had rope gloves, knives, etc. He ended up getting charged, but I can't remember the outcome of the trial. I'm surprised it was the kid who was universally liked. Usually when it's a quiet kid, they're usually not very liked. If they do something like this or have these tendencies, or it's a very outgoing and popular person who you never expect. Instead, it was a quiet kid, but who was liked. That's interesting to me. I'm glad. He didn't get away with anything, though. That's good. Story went to a Christian school. The head pastor preacher was caught grooming an 11 or 12-year-old girl to be his girlfriend. He only got caught because the girl went to the bathroom and left her Facebook chat open. Her dad happened to scroll through the chat and saw that she was talking to him. And what they were talking about, he got weekend jail in light of his service to the community. I'm not sure if he was allowed to continue on with the school, but it wouldn't surprise me at that. Place the school shut down for a bit, but is now back in a new location, hopefully. Not the same administration and teachers. Edit for follow-up and correction. I found the news story. She was 13 at the time. Apparently, there was actually an assault, which is what actually triggered the arrest. He received weekend jail, but only so he would have to submit a DNA sample. No time served, got 2 years. Probation as well. He was kicked out of the preachers union or their accreditation body or whatever, so can't be a legal preacher anymore at the time. He had 3 daughters aged 10 to 16 who also attended the school his wife was also a teacher there. Can't find any info as to if the school dropped him or not. Edit 2, just found more info. He is still married to his wife and is still preaching in a church, though just not as a head pastor. I assume you need to be accredited for that which he's barred from doing now. Yes, my favorite. Upstanding citizens, child predators. Excellent, excellent work justice system. Truly an upstanding member of the community who is saved from undue retribution. Look, I don't know, I can't be sarcastic about this anymore. This guy sucks. Super bad. Story 9. My best friend crapped his pants in E8th grade. He had math with one of the most popular chicks in school. He had to take a dump, but the teacher would not let him go as the period was just after lunch. When she finally let him go, it was too late. My friend had a habit of wearing gym shorts with no underwear, and as he ran out of the Class A turd ball, ran down his leg and plopped on the floor. He said he cleaned himself up in the bathroom and started to head back to class, but the class was already lined up outside since the turd was a biohazard. I guess he then moved going commando with only gym shorts. Is insanity, by the way. Just saying, I don't understand how anyone does it, like even in 8th grader. It just seems so weird to me also. Why was it necessary that Opie needed to point out that he had math with one of the most popular chicks in school? Was it just to show that he embarrassed himself in front of the person? Because don't worry, Op, I got that when the whole class had to stand outside because of his turd ball. Story 10. In my first year of high school, we had a class that taught all kinds of technical skills, so the classroom was part workshop, part normal class. This class was also taught by a relatively strict teacher. If you just worked normally and did your homework, he was nice and relaxed, but if you didn't, then he could be a real pain in the butt. We also had a student in our class who was the typical rebel, always talking back to the teacher, never doing any homework, being late every morning. You know what I mean? We had the technical class, and it was dead quiet. This particular student had already had a whole dumb discussion with the teacher about not having done any of the homework at all. Both of them were a bit on edge already, to say the least. All a sudden, the same student asks if he can go to use the bathroom. The teacher says no, because the class would end in 10 minutes, and we would have a break then. So he should go after class, and instead of just accepting it and moving on, he started a huge argument about why he has to go, etc. The teacher got really mad and sent him away to a special class where you had to go when the teacher sent you away as a sort of punishment. This guy gets up and goes behind to the back of the class where the door is. Then he suddenly stops behind a concrete pillar and starts peeing against it. The teacher loses his mind. He starts screaming that This will be this guy's last day at the school, etc., etc. He storms towards the student and drags him out of the room by his arm. We got to see where they went, and I caught them going into the office of the principal it was in the same corridor. The student still hadn't pulled up his pants literally within minutes. The whole school knew what happened. The teacher never got quite as relaxed as before anymore with anyone. The student was banned from his classes and dropped out later that year. Have never heard from him again. Story 11. A student who was 18 at the time went to the library in the school on a Saturday. Turns out the library was really the geometry teacher's desk, and she was getting railed on it. Nobody could figure out why the hell he did it. He was married with a beautiful wife and a kid on the way and was a really good teacher. Didn't turn out well for her being kids. We didn't understand the whole power dynamic thing. So she got labeled that girl who got Macmillan fired and never lived it down. On a personal note, she was a flaming jerk to me even before the incident, so I never really noticed the difference. The only thing that really involved me was her making fun of me for having a big butt. I mean, I had a dump truck as a 15-year-old dude, and I said, well, at least I didn't bang a teacher. I do still feel bad about that, Op. I think you were perfectly right to feel bad about that now, but at the time, that probably felt amazing to say. Literally, she has no way to recover from that. If conversations had winners and losers, you did win that one, albeit underhandedly. Story 12. A child, if I remember correctly, 11 or 12-year-old girl univet herself due to constant stress from getting bullied, school stresses, and being abused by her parents and teachers. Only emotional abuse is known for sure, but many were debating over if physical and intimate abuse occurred. The school held a mandatory assembly advertised as a PSA of self-unalive following the event. The girl was never mentioned in it. It was composed solely of advertisements for their fundraisers and merchandise. It was also announced that talking during lunch was banned. This was the final straw for the vast majority of students. Only a third of the school stayed after that, and a few more self-unalives happened as well. Story 13. Some kid in school decided to pleasure himself in class at the end of the day. Once he thought everyone had gone home, our classroom was one of the classes which faces out into the corridor with windows facing out. He got on one of those swivel chairs with his shirt off, so it was facing the door, covering him pants fully around his ankle and dong and a sock. He was just about to climax when everyone, including the teacher, came in to pick up their bags after a group seminar. Everyone saw and immediately cracked up like nothing before. I've never seen anyone so shocked. I felt sorry for that kid. He left the school after that, either expelled or by choice. I think the school felt so awkward about it that he was just politely asked to leave. Up. I got to ask, why do you feel bad for this kid? Like, you reap what you SSC. The kid did a risky move and it didn't pan out. In fact, I don't really see how it could pan out. Here, the risk reward does not seem very well thought through. Like, do just wait till you're home or do it in the bathroom even? Like, I don't know, a lot of better options were available for him. So I don't know. I don't feel particularly bad about this story. 14. Athletic director was caught on campus having an affair with a team physician. Both kept their job. Somehow fast forward a couple years, turns out the director had been skimming money from the athletic boosters fund for years and got fired. We also had a nut job of a history teacher who was frequently erratic and unreasonable. She was taken out of her class by police one day and never returned. Some kind of marital dispute. She was running from, I guess, story 15. I'm actually involved in this one. There were bushes at my bus stop one day. I found a plastic toy rifle in them. You can probably guess where this is going. I showed my friend and he grabbed it and started pointing it at traffic. One of those people called the police and the SWAT team was called. I was none the wiser until they called us into the assembly hall later in the day and told us what had happened. This was also only a few years after Colleen. The friend was absolutely a Kevin, not a bad kid, just didn't think things through. One of his other antics included bringing the head of a lighter into school, playing with it during science class, and accidentally lighting a jar of Verber cement on fire. Story 16. There are two that I know of. One, a teacher supposedly pulled out his dong in front of a bunch of year 7s in the bathrooms. I'm not 100% sure if it's true. Everyone joked about it, but it's only something I heard in passing, and I don't think anyone in my year knew for sure if it was true. This girl in my year gave her boyfriend a handy on the playground last year. They used a bag to hide it again. I didn't see this, and I don't know if anyone else even knew about it, but one of my friends overheard the two of them talking about it during a class. I just got to ask, who pleasures somebody in broad daylight and then talks to them about it when they're in a class where anyone could hear them? Well, up, to be honest, on that last part. For people who do that kind of thing, the idea of getting caught is a part of the thrill for them, I think. So in a way, they almost want to get caught or at least make it as risky as possible. So I guess talking about it was an extension of that when nobody else saw them either. Way though, it could also just be kids being weird. You know who knows story 17? I have a couple of incidents because I moved around a lot, but one of the nicer ones is there was a kid who was really anti-authority and wore, I don't know, goth kind of stuff, long leather trench, coats and makeup and dyed black hair. Anyway, this kid had been doing this and was a loner for a year or two already. Senior year, Colleen shooting happens. He comes to school dressed normally. Everyone asks him about it, and he's just like, I didn't want to be disrespectful. Goes back to his normal stuff in a week. Cut to later in the year, and he's failing a class, and he has basically no way to pass, and it's only like halfway into the year, and he's not going to graduate. GED will be his only option. Goes to his teacher of that class, a super gruff Vietnam Viet, and he says, wear a colored shirt and jeans for the rest of the year, dye your hair back, and no makeup, and I'll pass you. So he does it. Like less than a month later, everyone is sort of cheering him on and talking to him, and he's like, I don't know why I did that for so long, and he actually makes friends, and you can see him literally healing, and guess what? He walked to grad with us. Story 18, some of the cool kids found an old surface tunnel that ran under the music room and out to what I assume was the car park. Although the door at the end was sealed up and we could never find it on the outside of the building, it was like a crawl space which opened out into a maintenance room of some sort, which was empty. There was nothing in there, but they used to sneak down there to bunk off lessons and stuff. One day I went along because I wanted to be a cool kid, got stuck in the crawl space and had to be rescued by the fire brigade. The hatch got sealed properly and we all got detention. I wasn't allowed to be a cool kid ever again. Does it make me a bit of an old man to kind of agree with the school here? Sealing it up seems like the right decision. If it actually posed a safety risk, op got stuck, and if no one reported it, they probably would have just died, like no one would have found them. So sealing it up seems pretty reasonable, to be honest. Story 19. Athletic director got caught banging an 18-year-old senior, surprisingly, was not dismissed of his position, saying athletic director got his butt whooped by a graduated former student in the parking lot. I mean, beaten bloody, hospitalized freaking whooping senior. Year, our unanimous voted cutest couple was two girls. Principal demanded it to be withdrawn from the yearbook, and he was fired. Story 20, over the virtual year. Last year that my school did, one of the popular girls' boyfriends cheated on her with her best friend and got the best friend pregnant, obviously the popular girl, and the guy break up, and the two girls have a falling out. The guy stays with the pregnant girl to try to be a teen dad. I go to the only public high school in the city we've got kids from. Gated communities on the outskirts of the city to people that literally don't have running water in their homes also. Our school has 3 lunches, one for each part of the upper building, so the cafeteria doesn't get too crowded all. Right now on to the story. After the virtual year last year, the school was obviously crowded and tensions were somewhat high for the first couple of weeks of school. Everything was semi-calm, but things came to a boiling point. About 6 weeks into the year, it was a Friday during third lunch when it happened. A small fight broke out between 2 girls, and then another one started, and then another, and now the incident. The popular girl from our background, info, sees a chance in the chaos to attack the pregnant girl. There is a flight of concrete stairs right outside one of the doors to the cafeteria that leads down to the bus loading zone below, where pregnant girl is standing with baby daddy and their group in the chaos. Friend group and baby daddy walk away from pregnant girl to get a look at the action. This is when popular girl sees her chance and rushes pregnant girl. She pushes pregnant girl down the stairs. Right as baby daddy is coming back, he sees popular girl push pregnant girl and starts running at her. She goes down after pregnant girl and gets tackled by baby daddy, but not before she manages to stomp on pregnant girl's belly after. This, cops and EMTs are called. Pregnant girl is rushed to the hospital, and baby daddy and popular girl are detained and questioned. I'm pretty sure the baby was actually fine. Okay. This one goes crazy. This is truly hateful stuff happening here. Like, I get being mad at your friend for that, but okay, I kind of get being mad at your friend for that. Because like the main instigator of the cheating, or like the one who has to carry it out, is your partner. Like, your friend can't make your partner cheat on you. They have to make that decision for themselves. But anyway, that aside, sure, get being a little upset at your friend, or even a lot upset at your friend. It's disrespectful for sure, assaulting them. And trying to unalive an unborn baby is twisted. I don't even know what to say about that. This seems like a good, intense one to stop at also, despite that, I don't know, heavy note. I hope you enjoyed the video. I also hope that you have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are, and I'm sure if you have incidents from your school, you'll put them in the comments. For now, though, I will see you in the next one.